Hello, good morning children. Today in this video I am going to explain class 6 history 8th chapter Ashoka the emperor who gave up war. Why an emperor, why he has to give up a war? Let's see. Okay. Here they have given a story, a small story about the situation about a small boy. Let's see. Roshan's rupees. What is the name of the boy? Roshan. Roshan clutched the crisp notes that her grandfather had given her on her birthday. So here Roshan, she is a girl. Roshan. Not boy, she is a girl. Roshan. She is having that clutched crisp notes in her hands. And that was given by her grandfather on her birthday. While she badly wanted to buy a new cassette, she wanted to buy a cassette. And she also wanted to just see and feel the brand new notes. So, after changing that old note, after buying that cassette, as she was in excited, she wanted to see the new brand notes, how the new notes will be. She wanted to experience that. It was then that she noticed that all of them had a smiling face of Gandhiji printed on the right and a tiny set of lines on the left. What were the lines there for? She wondered. So she bought that cassette and she got she has taken the change and the new notes were in her hand, and the new notes were also there. In all the notes there was a picture of Gandhiji smiling and a tiny set of lines on the left, on the note left side lines were there. What were the lines on the notes? Why they have kept this symbol lines picture? That was the doubt rose in the mind of Roshan. A very big kingdom, an empire. What is the meaning of empire? Empire king, emperor. The person who is ruling an empire, that person was called as emperor. So then what about empire? Empire means a large big kingdom. A large big kingdom. Large kingdoms were called as a very big kingdom. Very big kingdoms were called as empire. The lines that we see on our notes and coins have a long history. So whatever we are observing now, the pictures on the notes, they have a very long history. They were carved in stone and placed on top of a massive stone pillar at Sarnath. So on the notes there was a picture. Okay, that picture, on the picture there was a lines picture. These lines were carved on a pillar, on a big pillar. What is the pillar? That was at Sarnath. Okay, about which you read in chapter 7. Okay, in the 7th chapter you have learnt that while that girl was going to trip, her mother said to the teacher, please take our children to Varanasi, Sarnath, and show and teach them the story of Buddha. Yes or not? So there you have learnt about this Sarnath. Ashoka was one of the greatest rulers known to history, and on his instructions, inscriptions were carved on pillars as well as on rock surfaces. So here you are going to learn about the Emperor Ashoka. So what were the history sources we are going to learn? We can get his history things about in the inscriptions and manuscripts. Inscriptions means the history is written on hard surfaces. Hard surfaces. And manuscripts means the writings on the palm leaf. So you will learn from manuscript and inscriptions the story of Ashoka, which were carved on these inscriptions. Before we found out what was written in these inscriptions, let us see why his kingdom was called an empire. So, before you are going to learn about this Ashoka, first of all, you have to know why his kingdom was called as an empire. Okay. The empire that Ashoka ruled was founded by his grandfather, Chandragupta Maurya. So, before you are going to learn about Ashoka, you have to learn about his kingdom, his empire. So, this empire was established by his grandfather, Ashoka's grandfather, Chandragupta Maurya. So, he was the founder of that kingdom, Chandragupta Maurya. More than 2300 years ago. So, Chandragupta, the empire was found by him. By whom? Chandragupta Maurya. Who was Chandragupta Maurya? He was grandfather of Ashoka. When he founded this kingdom about 2300 years ago. About 2300 years ago. Bring me one note. About 2300 years ago. Chandragupta was supported by a wise man named Chanakya or Kautilya. So, first of all, we are going to learn about this Chandragupta Maurya. So, he has a wise minister. Who was he? His name was Chanakya. His name was Chanakya. Chanakya or Kautilya. Okay. His name was Chanakya or Kautilya. Note. Many of Chanakya's ideas were written down in a book called Ardhasastra. So, this Chanakya was very famous for his ideas. So, all his ideas were written on a book that was named Ardhasastra. Ardhasastra. He has written a book about the administration, how a king has to administer and how to manage the money and all those things in his book Ardhasastra. Who has written this book? Chanakya or Kautilya. Okay, all his ideas were written in this book. There were several cities in the empire. These included the capital Pataliputra, Taxila and Ujjain. So, in his kingdom, what are the kingdoms in his empire? What are the kingdoms involved? They are Taxila, Ujjain and Pataliputra. So, his empire included Pataliputra. What is the another name for this Pataliputra? You have learnt in the previous chapter. That is Magadha. Magadha's capital, Pataliputra. Pataliputra. Ujjain. Pataliputra, Ujjain and Taxila. All these kingdoms included in this Chandragupta's empire. Okay. Next. Taxila was a gateway to the northwest. So, here this Taxila was a gateway to northwest. That means all the people, the merchants and the trades beginning place. That's why they used to call this Taxila as a gateway to the northwest, including Central Asia, while Ujjain lay on the route from north to south India. So, Ujjain is a route way from north to south India. So, here they have given a map, children. See, all these red marked cities, all these kingdoms were included in his Chandragupta Maurya's empire. All these places. Central India, north to west, north to south. That means all over India. He expanded his empire. So, I will show you children. See this note. Here also Gandhiji is there now. In the middle Gandhiji is there. And here, okay. See. This left side. What are there? Lines symbol is there. Okay. Why we are keeping this Gandhiji picture and at the same time this lines symbol? This was the doubt which was rose in the mind of, who is this girl? Roshan. You are also having the now. Now I am giving you the clarity in this. Okay. Now, so this map includes all the kingdoms which were included in the Ashoka's kingdom. Now we have to say Chandragupta Maurya's empire. Merchants, officials and craft persons probably lived in these cities. So, as they were towns, definitely these people, merchants, officials and craft persons will use it to live in cities. So, in all these cities they use it to live. In other areas, there were villages of farmers and herders. Okay, so the remaining places are the villages. There, who use it to live? Farmers and herders. In some areas, such as central India, there were forests where people gathered forest produce and hunted animals for food. So, all these types, you know children very well. Towns means they are the places of merchants, traders and official persons, noble persons they use it to live. Villages means farmers and herders, and at the same time forests and hilly areas, these tribal people, hunters and gatherers, they use it to live. They use it to collect the forest produce. People in different parts of the empire spoke different languages. Still now we are speaking different languages. So that time also they use it to speak. They probably ate different kinds of food and wore different kinds of clothes as well. So food styles different and dressing style also different. Languages also different. How are empires different from kingdoms? So, what were the differences between the empires and kingdoms? Let's see. One side, empires and kingdoms. What do you know about this empire? Empire means very big kingdom. That means kingdoms are small. Yes or not? Okay, small ones. And emperors need more resources than kings because empires are larger than kingdoms. So, here they need much resources. Much resources. That means people also very much people will be there. That means population will be more people will be here, and here less people. This is small kingdom, this is big kingdom, and much resources needed here, and here few resources enough. Yes or not? Few resources and needed to be protected by big armies. An army, here big armies enough needed, and here for this protection small army enough. Okay, next. So also they need a large number of officials who collect taxes. Large number of officials. Large number of officials needed, and here less officials enough. So these are the differences children between the empires and kingdoms. Empires means first we will see kingdoms. Kingdoms are smaller ones, and empires means very big kingdoms. And here kingdoms, for kingdoms few resources enough to fulfill the needs of the people. And here much resources they needed, because large people will be there, that means large resources they needed. And here less people in kingdoms, more people in empires, and small army enough to protect the kingdoms, and here big armies needed for the protection of the empire, and large number of officials needed for collecting taxes, and in kingdoms few members enough to collect taxes. These are the differences between kingdoms and empires. Next, how to rule the empire. So, if kingdom means a king and his court, the ministers enough to rule. Then what about these empires? How they use it to function? Let's see. Ruling the empire. Ruling the empire. Okay, how to rule the empire? Let's see. As the empire was so large, different parts were ruled differently. So, here as the empire was big, different parts were ruled by differently. The area around Patliputra was under the direct control of the emperor. Why? This Patliputra was the capital city, main city. That's why that city was under the control of the emperor. This meant that officials were appointed to collect taxes from farmers, herders, craftspersons, and traders who lived in villages and towns in the area. So, if the kingdom is here like this, in the central area, the king, the emperor will rule here, and the remaining places, there the emperor will appoint his officials. Those officials, they will collect taxes from farmers, herders, merchants, traders, all the people, all the kinds of people. That means they use it to function in different parts. Who? Officials who were appointed by the emperor. Officials also punished those who disobeyed the ruler's orders. If the people who were not willing to pay taxes to the king, and if they disobeyed, means these officials have the right to punish the people. Officials use it to punish. Whom they use it to punish? Those who disobey. Those who disobey to pay taxes. Those who disobey to pay taxes. Many of these officials were given salaries. So, these officials were also given salaries. If they were paid salaries, then only they will work, they will function. So, they were given salaries. Messengers went to and fro, and spies kept a watch on the officials. So, in those days, communication is not there. That's why messengers, they used to go from one place to another to pass the information, to pass the message from one area to another area. And spies also kept to watch the work of the official spies. You know, na, the movie Bahubali you have seen how the spies, they will watch out the work of the officials, and how the enemies, they used to come to occupy the kingdoms. Everything you have seen. So here officials were appointed to collect the taxes, and they have the right to punish those people who disobeyed to collect to pay the taxes, and to watch, to observe the work of the officials. Spies were also kept. You know well about these spies more than me. No need to explain. And of course, The emperor supervised them all with the help of members of the royal family and senior ministers. So, on these officials and spies at the head, the emperor used to supervise all the work of the officials and spies, the emperor and his family members and his ministers too. There were other areas or provinces. Each of these was ruled from a provincial capital such as Taxila or Ujjain. As the capital cities were, main cities were there, from there these officials they used to work. Although there was some amount of control from Patliputra and royal princes were often sent as governors, local customs and rules were probably followed. So, as the king means, emperor means, he has so many wives will be there, definitely sons will be there, all his family members, they were sent to different cities as governors. They used to watch the work of the remaining all the people, and his ministers also, all the people, they work together for the function of the empire. Besides, there were vast areas between these centers. Then, if we are discussing about these main centers only, in between also so many vast areas were there. Then, what about them? Here, the Mauryas tried to control roads and rivers which were important for transport. That means they have given importance for the construction of roads and rivers. And to collect whatever resources were available as tax and tribute. So, if you are functioning very well, then only you can collect taxes from the people. So, here they have focused on the roads and transport, rivers also. For example, the Arthashastra tells us that the northwest was important for blankets and South India for its gold and precious stones. So, here, northwest side, as the trade will go on, this place was famous for these blankets. So, on blankets they used to pay taxes. So, if they insisted to pay taxes means they will get more money. And at the same time, south side, it was famous for gold business. So, on the gold, sellings and sales, if they pay, insist tax means they also collect, they will get more tax. So, in what ways if we imply taxes and how to increase the income of the treasury, they will work out on those. It is possible that these resources were collected as tribute. If they were collected as tribute, then only the people will pay. Otherwise, it is very difficult. If we just give tax to us or just give money, just give gold means nobody will give. If it is a tax means definitely all the people will pay tax to the emperor. There were also the forested regions. People living in these areas were more or less independent but may have been expected to provide elephants, timber, honey and wax to Mauryan officials. So, from farmers, merchants, they used to collect. Then what about these people who used to live in forests? So, they were asked to pay, to give the forest produce as the taxes. So, for example, honey, elephants, timber and wax to Mauryan officials. So, in this way, they used to collect tax from the forest people. Next, Ashoka, a unique ruler, children. So, till now, I hope you understood. The remaining content I will explain in the next video. Thank you. Have a nice day.